bonsai out of these. I'll put, and yeah, actually I like it so much. I was kind of thinking about instead of just like doing a hard like prune, doing an air layer this year, and then just have maybe even just have it like a mother tree.
Yeah, experiment with it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I have a second one though for that, so I could just do something drastic this year, I guess. Just go for it. It's kind of so dense, it's hard to really see the trunk. Yeah. And then, would you guys say that similar rules for time of year for these as the junipers, or
For trimming, for
trimming?
I've never, don't ask me, I've never kept one alive.
Ben's good with junipers. What do you say, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I work on junipers year round, but the hinoki is more sensitive. It's not, it's a false hinoki, whatever. But typically you want to repot early spring. So I would keep it in that pot. If you want to do air layers, you can. If you want to prune it, you can. I don't really know what kind of style you're going to get other than like a formal upright, you know, because it is kind of naturally that shape already. The juniper is going to be more forgiving, so you'll be able to tackle it. If you do any root work, keep it in the shade afterward for a week or two. So like you said, if you want to split the trunk, because you have 2 plants in there, you can do that. I do that as well. Keep it in the shade for a few weeks. If you want to do any pruning, wiring, styling, get with me and we can discuss some styling a little later in the class. Sound good?
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, okay.
All right, next, Bill. Would you agree?
I saw the lavender bush that had been trained. That it reminded me that a few years ago I saw, bushes that were rosemary that were trained, and I thought that was pretty cool. And when Dale did the training of peppers, which I thought was almost weird, but I thought I think that might be something that might be nice to do, is to look at herbs that might be able to be trained. Yeah. Because when you do the trimmings on them, you have something of value that you can use. But I thought this lavender was kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, I didn't trim it. I bought it this way. Frankly, I wouldn't have trimmed it this way. It looks kind of funny, but I guess we'll see what happens and how it looks in a few months. And then, Ernest, you picked out a rose bush. You want to show that? We picked it out because it had small leaves, and it had some character in terms of the way the trees would form. But I suspect that we won't know what it's going to look like for five years. But I thought it was kind of nice because the leaves were small. I figured if we're going to do an azalea, we might do a rose bush. I didn't think, that you'd bring one too.
Roses are easier to keep alive than azaleas, so yeah.
All right, thanks, Taylor.
Sometime last year I brought this in, so I just rained it in again.
Yeah.
I have done 0 training except throwing it in this pot and keeping it alive, but
What is it?
I don't know, some kind of spruce guy.
It's a friend.
It was just about 2 inches tall when I first moved here to Champaign in my front yard, and so like I said, it's just keeping it alive. Basically, that's all I've done. But for being kind of a shaggy tree, I still like it, even though it's not trained in any way. Yeah.
You can pinch the tips on your drill too.
And what's that do?
That'll keep them from getting too long, and that'll also hold them.
Oh, so kind of densify it. Cut it down. Yeah. And would this be the time that you do it, or is it a little late?
Yeah, you can do it right now. It's off, but you want to show you.
Sure. So if it dies this week, I know why. It's alive for
There's
years.
2 right here, right? So
Yeah.
secure the base of one, and then just pinch just like that. So yeah, so that'll be shorter, and then that way you'll have a little new growth there.
next year, instead of having one bud, you'll have 4 or 5 buds.
Sorry,
So it'll branch more.
Okay, excellent.
All right, raffle. So we have a lot of magazines. Jackie, do you want to go through your magazines? Just like a little quick.
So they're bonsai focused, and there's 2005 up to 2010. We thought maybe you would just do, if you pull a name, you could pick a year. Is that what you want to do, or you want to do individuals, or?
Just take a step.
Yeah,
take
just
a
do a
stack.
stack. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want a
So-
stack of them, take a stack of them.
So they cover, I mean, they cover everything imaginable. Even though they're a little older, every information is still pertinent, yeah. There's a section in there that's for beginners, and there's sections for experts. So it covers every month, or every magazine has something for anybody and everybody in it.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So we have duckfoot ivy. Very, very cool duckfoot ivy. I've made a couple trees from there. We have an elm, looks like a cork bark elm, Japanese maple, chinkapin oak, looks like eastern red cedar, and one shimpaku, and are they both shimpaku?
Yeah, I think so.
They're both
I think
shimpaku?
There's sticks in them.
And
They might
then
eat them, though.
what is
The little seedlings are cypress.
oh, cypress seedlings. All right, cool. What are those?
If anyone wants these, this is a Dicliptera. It's not a. It's basically a herbaceous plant. It's not very. It can get a little woody at the base. You could grow it indoors as an indoor plant, or you could put it out as a bedding plant. It has bright red-orange flowers on it over a fairly long season. They're kind of narrow. You could look it up, I guess. Yeah, Dicliptera. And this is a begonia medora that has pink flowers, and it stays pretty compact. Angel wing begonia hybrid. So.
Is that able to go outside as well?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you could put it outside seasonally. You know.
Bring it in the 50
Okay.
or.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can put it out in warm season.
Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. And then looks like Ernest brought some Japanese cookies as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you think just let them take 3 at a time, or? Yeah. You have two different kinds. Yeah. One of each. Okay. So the raffle's $1 each. You get your name 3 times for $1. And already a whole bunch of names in here, right? Did this already happen?
Yeah.
Is everybody done? Has everybody started the raffle?
I didn't
Do you
know.
wanna? Do you guys want to do the raffle? You're in there. Do you want to do the raffle? It's $1. And you put your name in, and then you can choose if your name is drawn from anything.
I'll always try one.
Oh, this Just kidding. This is for Augusta. So then with a little piece of paper, you write your name, and then fold it up, and we're gonna draw Taylor's in have changed.
I got one for you. How many times? Yeah. How many?
That's for me.
What do you want? Just $1 worth? Holy shit!
So
All right,
you do
good.
$5 worth? You just want to take them all, don't you? All right, I'll do $3 worth.
Okay. So you need 10, 15, 16, 17. 17, is that right? You already threw a
Yeah,
dollar
17,
down. You threw a dollar down. 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
Good?
Good.
That's high finance, man. Good thing Chris and I are friends, or I'd have to take him down.
Read the magazine.
sure you can take him right now.
I did the other one. Yeah. We arm wrestled.
I just sent you how it
A
looks.
little over a year now.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yep.
So $3 will get you 1, 3, 4, 6, 9 of them. Just put my name on Dale.
You have a share of it.
It's not a really plus, I tend to have a lot of fun. As far as goes, it's not too bad. I've had occasion.
This is the one with the Azalea.
I say you get a new one.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Actually, the only thing you need to realize is most of them are going to be grafted. They never want to get past these branches that are on.
Kid sigh, I used to have that one and I lost it. I wanted another one so bad.
In other words, today there were
I haven't been able to find it
three or
for
four
$100,000.
big things like that down here. Probably
You just said cypress, I assumed bald cypress.
it's one of the arbors that they don't you can mulch around.
That looks like a,
The biggest part, like I said, is trying to find.
it looks like
Most of them
Commons native to me.
big ass stems, they're not like that. And you cut back the stem.
Did
These
you
are
do all these, Dale?
dwarf trees, yes, from seeds. They're probably 6 years old.
Yeah.
They're a dwarf chinkapin oak from seed.
Is this as big as
What's
they get
really
typically?
cool is they get a nice fat trunk. They stay short.
So this really thick trunk, that's pretty natural. That's not from like you doing any hard cuts or
No,
anything.
no. They do it naturally. Yep, yep.
I said I had one. Some rabbits enjoyed it.
Yeah. No.
They loved going all the way around.
And it won't get too well. It gets
A lot of them have many,
10 or 12 feet if it's in the ground. But it's very easy to control in the pot. So I'm having, which they didn't announce yet, but I'm having a plant sale at my garden in Champaign, prospective demonstrator, and I got all kinds of stuff like this.
Yeah, I drive past there every day. I see all your Japanese maples all in a row.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I had a really good spring with germinating seed with a
Right, you ought to do flowers.
450 to 500 seeds. Geez. Now,
Throw it in,
a lot of
Ben.
these are like,
Your cup runs, oh, you got a big one.
Good planning, good planning.
Teamwork.
22.
Yeah.
You gotta draw the first one.
Some of them are
Draw the first one.
a couple years old.
Chris!
Which Chris?
The other one's not here.
Oh, okay. I just-
He's like, I got a lot of them. Hey, if you sign, that's good.
Big one.
Take your own tree? Shoot? So the Houston Red Caesars are easy. These are really cool. These can stay outside. Cereal, you've already got some. And the Japanese maple and the chinkapin oaks are really cool. Phil! This one's really cool right here. That's a chinkapin oak, yeah, that's really cool.
That's what these are.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what those are, yeah. I mean, you got to pay for it now.
What was picked?
Hey!
Hey, it's me.
What do you want? I can grab it for you.
Yep, that one. Who do you know?
We're going good. Ernest! You went too far.
See, why'd you go all the way back,
Back
there?
there eating the cookies.
You're not supposed to eat your own supply.
And Chan, yeah.
Woo!
Bill!
This is Bill.
Yes,
Yeah.
Choices.
Yeah. I like the containers. Those are really cool.
I know, too many choices.
Taylor Hoffman.
Yay!
All right. Just grab a name.
You get to pick.
Ernest, which one did you want?
Hey, Taylor. You got it.
Taylor Bowles Taylor.
Taylor.
It looks like a red cedar.
Dale. Hey,
Dale.
I remember this.
Yeah. No.
Taylor Page.
Oh, that's me.
You get double.
So there's cookies, there's magazines. Think
Well, if you're going for that,
What should I take?
That's gonna stay inside in the wintertime. That's chocolate. But you can leave it outside right now. It's actually it's a duck foot ivy. So it trails. Wire
we're saying she was killed.
pretty cool.
No killing it. No killing it.
Kill it. You need to draw a game because you got two. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Kylie.
Yay!
What do you want?
I'll take some of the. I don't know how it works with the magazines. Is it just one? Or
No, you get a stack.
okay, I want a stack.
Which
Magazines.
stack?
Oh, are they all different?
Yeah.
Oh, the one in the middle top.
Middle top.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's Dale again.
You knew it. That's why you were hanging out, huh?
I'll take them.
All right. Hey, hold on now. Don't go too far.
Whoa.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's a really productive day. It says Kylie again. Do you want another stack?
Yes.
Okay, which stack?
Back left.
Back. Your
Yep.
left or my left?
The right. Yep, that one. Sorry.
Oh no.
Thinking
not
back.
that
Not that one.
I
Yay!
got one more card in there. Come on.
You're lucky enough. You might get it. You might get it.
Ben.
Hey. All right.
Are you gonna pick Ben?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Ben, this is the first time with Ben.
Yeah.
Troy.
And they should have.
This is good. Really diverse today.
They don't have tags.
Winner, bonsai dinner.
Huh? They don't have a tag, they're $2.
I'll
Yeah.
take this one.
Which one do you like?
That one with the tag for $40.
Where's that?
Anyway, just wander around.
And
They
Chan.
haven't talked about it yet.
Yay, you got picked again.
Most of these are 2 or 3, maybe 4 years.
Always good to see you.
Yeah,
Is this one gonna end up being okay?
sure.
Whatever you want. Plant magazine or cookies?
Where are you gonna buy a red leaf Japanese maple for $10?
Well, they can go
got
get
to.
You.
Get two then.
That's it.
You can get
Or at my garden,
multiple. You
because I got some in the ground, they're like beautiful.
Ben's
You gotta
lucky.
dig them yourself, but I
And yeah, you
got
get
some.
two.
This coming Saturday.
Two things.
We haven't announced that yet, have we?
Nope.
Ernest.
Don't. You are up here and
You were up
prepared.
here, he knew it. His ears are burning.
Ooh.
And you got another one. So that's, yeah, you get 3. Oh, okay. Okay. There's this weird folded one.
Yeah, I brought it in. I don't want to take it home.
Bill, you're up again. Yes.
Yeah. It pays to have them folded weird, huh?
Yeah, it was like, what was that? That's weird. You did.
And Shan.
Again, yay! There's cookies.
No, I got.
You sure you don't want to eat your own supply?
Kylie.
Yay! I'll pick the last tree. Yay!
Okay, so we have one more book and then cookies.
Cookies!
Do you just want to do the cookies all in one go? All right, cookies all at once.
I got a double. This one.
You want that one?
Yeah.
I could see it says Ann Chan again. Where did she go? No?
She said no.
All right, she passed. So what was the other one? That was you. You did yourself.
I'll take a last book.
The left.
Okay.
She did. Yep, fine. I'll take one cookie. Oh no. I'm gonna share the cookies. Thank you for the cookies.
That's it for the raffle.
Oh, just briefly, these are free. I brought some pots in if anyone wants them.
Yay!
That's all.
Thank you, Pots. Take them on your way out with the plant sale. You're ready, Carrie.
Well, I can't really do anything. Those plants are out of the way. Dale's plants.
Dale. Yeah, well, if we're going to relocate your plants for the workshop or for the demo or whatever.
It's a forest.
Where are we going?
I like that little plant you picked up, Carrie.
Which one? That one? Yeah. Good question. He brought it.
That's a begonia.
Oh, this little one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Begonia.
cool. Thank you.
I remember this plant.
It looks cute. I like it.
Yes.
Look at what you brought. This one's pretty.
It's funny. People appreciate it because I got it in Peoria.
Well, cool.
And it was of course not a bloom. It was like the next week after I learned that what was happening now. So
Hey, perfect timing. It worked in the end.
Anyway, it was cool. They had maybe 20 of us, so I went carefully one by one and picked the one with the best trunk,
It does look cool.
Not knowing what we
I
did.
see a lot of you brought some azaleas to work on, but before anybody actually works on any, you need to know what is different about growing azaleas and doing azalea bonsai than other bonsai. First of all, the most popular types of bonsai for azaleas are the satsukis or satsukis, and I brought 4 different ones here that are all in flower. This one had quite a few more flowers on it, but I left a trail of red flowers all the way to the car. So, but most of them that you see as bonsai are grown in Japan. They're grown in the ground for several years, trained while they're in the ground, and then when they've got a large enough trunk, they dig them and repot them. They dig them and pot them for the first time, and they're usually very expensive. There are a few people that actually import them, and you can buy some full-size ones, but you're talking about thousands of dollars. Even the ones I have here are not inexpensive. This one was, what, you say about 250 or something like that, Phil?
It was over 300, but
Maybe, okay, I always think it was about 320 or something like
yeah, I
that.
think so.
And these two here were both $50 each. They've got some nice trunks, but they're not in a bonsai pot yet, and they've got you can do a lot more training on them. And this one was more like 150.
230.
Oh, 230? Okay. Well, see, he bought it for me, so I don't, but this is the first time it's bloomed for me, and I'm very happy with it. And you can see it's got a nice little trunk.
Oh, you're right, that was more like 170, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you had that one?
He just got it last
Got
summer.
it last summer at the Nashville Bonsai Show.
Yeah.
In July.
Because that was the one that this is the one your sister-in-law couldn't figure out why it would cost so much.
That's right, well, my cousin couldn't figure it out.
Oh, you cousin,
Couldn't figure it out.
okay.
Did you figure it out?
Oh, I can figure it out. Yeah, I bought this one, so I know how much
It was one of
costs.
the cheaper ones they were selling, that was one.
Yeah. But the thing about Satsukis, first of all, they've got smaller leaves than the other azaleas, any of the other azaleas you can buy, but they're not hardy here. They're like zone 7 or 8, so they need to be kept in where it doesn't get too cold, but they need a cold period. Most people do not have what it takes to keep them alive. We have a cool greenhouse that gets down to just below freezing, and they love it. But I don't know how many we've tried to grow and killed until we had those conditions. My very first bonsai was an azalea. It was a florist azalea that was given to my mother as a Mother's Day gift in 1973. And when it was done flowering, she was going to just throw it out. And I said, no, it's a pretty little tree. So I grew it as a bonsai. I lived in Michigan. We kept it in our breezeway, which got down to just about freezing every winter, and water was acidic water. I had the perfect conditions for growing that tree, and it thrived, so I just thought they were easy. Then I moved to Illinois.
Then she got married.
But it died before I got married.
Yeah, it died before you got married.
Yeah, I moved to Illinois. It was hot. The water was alkaline. The only place I had where I could winter it would be in the house. It just did not do well. It started going downhill as soon as it moved to Illinois. So that's not saying Illinois is bad for everybody. It is bad for azaleas in general. Okay, the azaleas that most of you bought are probably ones that you've got at a local garden center, and they're probably hardy here. Okay? So they're like zone 5, some of them are even 4. But you don't want to put them out in the full sun. They like filtered sun or light shade. They do not like the wind at all. And in the winter time, if you're wintering them outside, you have to absolutely protect them from the wind. People that have them planted in their yards usually spray them with a wax that keeps them from desiccating. And because they're evergreen, they keep their leaves all year, and they will dry out very, very quickly with the wind, and it'll even dry the roots out by transpiration from the leaves.
Do you keep it wet? I mean,
Yes and no. When you're potting up, first of all, there are people that talk about planting your azaleas in the akadama.
Yeah.
That's a good way to kill it. Okay. Also, most of us are not buying these several $1,000s. Azaleas that are already as big as you want them to ever be. you plant them in the academa, that's when it stops growing. You may be able to maintain it at that size, but what it does is it slows down the growth so fast that you can enjoy it the way it is until it dies. You know, so, but yeah, you can tell I'm not real high on that. But they like to be moist at all times, but they hate to be wet at all. So that means you want some well-drained soil that also has some kind of humus in it, preferably something like peat moss. What I use, I've got a mix here that I kind of make myself, but I start with a potting mix that's basically a peat moss based. It's called Pro Mix, and it's VX. It has mycorrhizae in it, which is very, very good for, you know, azaleas do so much better if it has mycorrhizae in the soil, which is a beneficial fungus. And I mix that soil with some pumice, and you could use turfus, something to add some more tooth to it, or whatever you want to call it, some more grit to it. But you don't want really big pieces. So the turfus is good, and the pumice I got is nice little pumice. And but that's what my mix is here. It's probably about a third potting soil, and well, it's probably about half potting soil and half of the pumice and stuff. So, yeah, you can see how it's nice and loose, but still nice and dark. All right. I'm going to go ahead and, first of all, if you're going to work on your azalea, if you're going to, the best time to repot it, I've heard so many stories. Most people say after it's done flowering, because if you're going to repot it and it's in flower, you have to pick all the flowers off, and most people don't want to do that. I had one that I bought to bring to work on that was smaller than this one, but it's so full of flowers right now, I didn't have the heart to bring it to work on it. And Phil's got one right down there that's full of flowers. He probably won't work on it either. But once it's done flowering, or if you have the heart to pick all the flowers off, you can go ahead and repot it. And this is one that I got at Prairie Gardens. It's Hino Crimson. It's one with, it's not a Satsuki, but it's got quite small leaves, and the flowers are even small. The flowers are smaller than any of these here. And I don't know what, is yours Hino Crimson too? Or?
Yeah, that
okay.
is a flower.
Yeah, there it is. See how nice and little the flower is? Yep. And by the way, they root very easily, so anything I cut off, if anybody wants to try to root it, you're welcome to. Okay. First of all, a lot of the azaleas, when they pot them fairly deep, and I'm feeling now that about this far down I finally get some roots. Although there may be some other roots, but at least the flare is down there. Let me try it. I'm not going to dig the roots off the top. I can see there's some hairy, fine roots in here, and I really don't want to damage those too much. And, oh, by the way, you never put an azalea in any pot that's less shallow than 3 or 4 inches. And this, you can, and you never, you know how with a lot of trees, you can rake the leaves out, or you can rake the roots out, you know, and get the soil off from the roots and tease them apart. you kill all the roots from an azalea when you do that. So the way to transplant an azalea is you can go ahead and you can cut the bottom off. Let's see, I'm probably going to put it in. Let's see which of these. I'm probably going to go with this bigger one. Just saw those roots. Right? Take the bottom part off. The roots are all fibrous. You're not going to have any big roots like you get with a maple or an oak or a pine. Or
It's like a loaf of bread.
yeah.
Now, does that affect when you do that there? Do you have to be careful what you on top also? So you need to
Right.
cut off quite a bit off of there also?
Well, I'm just going to tease
So
it.
he's talking about foliage and branches.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you could cut off. Yeah, most of the roots are in the top, maybe 4 inches. So, but yeah, if you to be safe, if you cut off a third of the roots, ideally you cut off a third of the foliage.
Okay.
That's kind of normal for any tree, any bonsai. Now I can see it's got fertilizer in there. I don't know how far down it really, well, I could feel a root right there, so. Hey Phil, do you have any, did you bring your tools? Do you have any wire that's not real thin and not real thick?
Yep.
I have real thin or real thick.
The Goldilocks, just right.
Yeah.
One of those work?
Yep. I just want to wire it in. Although I've been told I'm not very good at wiring plants in, that I tend to forget to wire them in.
Need this? You have to wire?
I've got wire cutters, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay, well, whatever. Just trying to help.
Yeah.
Are they very fast growers?
No. I've not had any that were very fast growers.
Which is why in Japan they grow them out in the field for several years.
Yeah, they grow. I don't know how fast they grow in the field, but certainly a lot faster than ours do, than they do in a pot.
So would they grow them in a pot and then in a pot in the ground?
No,
like that?
they just grow them in the ground, and when the trunk is as big as they want them to be, they dig them up in pots, and they train them while they're in the ground.
One thing that Brussels Bonsai has done for years in Mississippi, just outside of Memphis, Tennessee, has brought back, Brussels goes to Japan every year and brings back azaleas. Typically, azaleas are approximately this big around on the trunk, about this tall. They have a price of $6,000 to $12,000 a piece. Okay.
That's
About right, Troy?
That's in the fantasy room.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So how old is that?
That's the
Huh?
fantasy room.
How old is the plant?
I have no idea how old it is. You know, in bonsai, it's not how old it is, it's how old it looks.
Yep, I was just gonna say the
You know,
same
if
thing.
I would suspect that most of them are probably 10 to 15 years old, I
Okay.
would guess.
One other thing, I said you don't want to tease the roots apart, but you want to try to work new soil in here. So what you do is you take pie-shaped wedges up, high piece-shaped wedges out. And then you put new soil in those areas where you took those wedges out. So you can see how I take a wedge out there, and I'll take a couple more of them out. And hopefully the next time you repot it, you'll get lucky enough to hit a different spot. So you'll have.
How often do you typically repot them?
I probably do about every 3 or 4 years. So.
What do you do for watering?
Okay. I water with rainwater. We've got a rain barrel we collect, and we use it for certain bonsai that like acidic water, and some of our fish that like acidic water. And
The water that comes off your roof is going to be a pH of about 5 to 5.5, and that's what azalea is really like. Neutral is 7, of course. What comes out of your tap in Champaign Urbana has been bumped up in pH from the natural 6.5 to 6.8 to 7 that comes out of the Mojave Aquifer. You'll end up, it's usually going to be about 8.5 to 8.6 coming out of your faucet. They bump it up at the water plant to over 9 because particularly Urbana has such old water pipes that have a bunch of gunk on the inside. If they used lower pH water, you'd be getting gravel in your water glass from the inside. So they use a high pH, which is something you need to be aware of. People will reduce the pH by mixing vinegar into it if they don't have a source of rainwater.
And when you fertilize, they recommend you use some of the fertilizer that you mix right in with the soil. I've never done that, but I'll fertilize with, they say muracid, which I do use for every now and then. And I'd always been told that they liked a urea-free fertilizer. But one of the things that Jackie put in the newsletter said that urea was the best source of fertilizer for them. So now I'm just using this around the edge where it's working the soil down in there. Okay. If you look, azaleas are very, very good at budding back. When you're pruning, first of all, you can't, when you've got a thin branch like this, you can wire it. These thicker ones you cannot. You have, hopefully you've picked something that has a trunk shape that you like the shape of, because that's what you're going to get. And
do you clean the lower, see how like this is?
Yeah, you can't. I was going to say.
Do you want to take off the lower spindly?
Yeah. I was going to just. I haven't really studied this to see, but what I want to cut off. But there's a lot of really.
I see the thicker trunk. Are you going to take some of the thicker trunks off?
I probably will. I can see where I have some that are crossing. Yeah. One of those needs to go. But one thing I wanted to show you, Phil's plant showed this real well. That once it flowers, from that point, it sends up new shoots. They usually send them up in groups of 5. You want to prune out probably 2. Prune it down to where there's only 2, so it's branching at that point. So if he was pruning this, he would prune out like 3 of those 5, and so that it looks more like a regular tree, I guess you could say. But
You could also prune it back to just maybe one leaf. If you're trying, if it's a long stem like this, you're trying to get some back footage.
Right.
That's gonna help it do that.
Yeah,
If you cut it back to where it has only 1 or 2 leaves at the end, you're gonna get shoots all up and down this stem within a few weeks.
If you, when you want to come up and look, I mean, I don't know about, I didn't look at very many other people's plants, but this one's already shooting lots of other little buds all along the stems. So you can cut those back. You've got buds there already coming on. And also, like I said, a lot of people, what I've seen where they'll almost totally defoliate an azalea, cut it way back, and it'll shoot new stuff all over.
So if I pull all these buds off, it would make the best thing for it.
If you're gonna repot it, you have to pull all those buds off.
I'd rather not.
Or you could wait till it's done and then repot it. And they usually, most people say repot it right after it's done flowering, but also, I guess ideally for the plant, the best time to repot it would be in the winter time. Remember, it's not gonna be where it's below freezing, but it's gonna be cold. So when it's dormant, repot it then before it even sets flower buds. So it won't set those, it sets those buds in the late winter. And once it sets the, and so if it sets buds, if you pot it in the early winter and then later it sets buds, it knows it's got enough roots and foliage and whatever to support those buds that it's making.
Why is it that you don't repot when there are buds? You have to take them off.
Because your plant is going to put most of its energy into those buds. And you want it to when you repot it, you want it to put its energy into its roots.
Okay.
If you feel like you've had enough cut off of you that you may die, the last thing you do is you try to reproduce. So it shoots everything to the flowers if it's under stress.
Whether the buds are dead or alive.
Exactly.
Huh.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And so if it's under stress enough that it's theoretically concerned about dying, then it's going to try to produce the next generation, which means you put out flowers to the detriment of the whole rest of the plant.
Got it.
So that's why you take the buds off, so it can't. It has to shoot it to roots and stay in leaves.
So if any of you want to work on your trees and go get started, I'm gonna do some hacking on this one if I can get
Well, my
it.
tree been hacked already. I hacked it when I first got it.
I'm worried about yours because you've just repotted it and it's got all those buds.
No,
Nope.
it didn't have buds when I got it.
Oh, you didn't? Okay,
No,
good.
They started coming as I repotted it.
Okay,
They
so
were
you
all
may be
leaf-
okay.
they were all
So
leaf.
you repotted it a while ago. How did you rake out the soil and stuff? That's
Yeah,
what I'm worried
kind
about.
of, but
Yeah, kind of. You may be okay if you did it heavily. We'll see. Time will tell.
I mean, it was a big little guy. At Prairie Gardens, I got this.
Yeah. Try to get this one right
Yeah,
here.
the one she's working on was $72. It's very good.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they had some smaller ones. She's gotten some in the same variety.
It was like 24, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I looked at this
Somebody
one.
had to have the big one.
I looked at this one and I wanted it, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
Yep.
And they like part sun, part shade, right? Not full sun.
Not full sun. They should be in light shade, let's put it that way.
Yeah, light shade, where the
Yeah.
light.
Yeah, where it's filtered light.
Filtered shade, yeah.
Yeah, I could see, like.
This thing didn't even start blooming when I got it.
Yeah.
The Prairie Gardens back when you guys first said.
So I'm looking at this one, and you can see last year where it flowered, and now you've got this branch with these 5 little twigs all coming out in the same place. So I really need to probably go back that far and start thinning those up. There's one right there. It's got.
How often do you prune them typically?
I usually do, once it's had the heavy pruning when I first get it, maybe only like once a year. Like I can see with this one's, once it's done flowering, I'll do some, it's more like pinching back, and I can do more of that.
You would typically do the pruning every time afterwards, after the flower?
Yeah. Well, if you wait till after the flower, then you get those 5 little branches coming out that you want to thin down to your tube.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And do you normally, even if you're not repotting it, take off the little the buds after they've died?
Yeah, ideally, yes. So you don't want to put any energy into making seeds.
Good.
Yeah. Pluck them off, yeah.
And they bloom 3 times a year, correct? Are you sure?
Once, usually in April or May. Or April and May. So yeah. And then you enjoy your bonsai with the nice. Yeah. I mean, some people. Look at Troy's tree there with such big flowers. They're beautiful. Right now, when it's like that, you're enjoying it as a flowering plant. But as a bonsai, you don't want those big flowers, so that you're enjoying the foliage. The foliage is the shape of the tree.
Do different types of azaleas have a smell, or do they smell differently? I don't know.
I don't even know if they have a smell or not.
Okay.
Yeah, usually they do. Well, we do sell some
Is that yours, Ben?
Yeah, I forgot about it.
How dare you?
I added,
Shame.
it was
Shame,
probably
Ben.
like half Pro Mix potting soil, which has blossom pearl and mycorrhizal. And then the other half is some kind of either pumice or turfus or something.
From another pot.
Yeah, I would